What's going on, everybody? Trevor Sikkema here from Pro Football Focus. And now that we're past free agency, what we want to do is focus more on the NFL draft. And we're going to take what we learned in free agency and build some perfect draft strategies by using the PFF mock draft simulator. The first team that I want to explore the possibilities with is the Denver Broncos. First and foremost, I love what they did in free agency. Love the addition of Talanoa Hufanga. Love Dre Greenlaw as well. Both of those guys bring team speed to the defense. It was a defense that was already top 10, top 8, top 5 in certain categories. It could be a top 3 defense in the NFL next year. I also love the addition of Evan Ingram. And when we talk about the NFL draft, that's the one that allows us to have fun with this exercise, because bringing in Ingram for that 2-year, $23 million deal means that they don't have that desperate need at the tight end position. So this is always a team that we typically just give Colson Loveland, the tight end from Michigan, to the Denver Broncos every single time because it lines up that way. But mock drafts are about exploring what could be other avenues, finding the ideal draft strategy. So let's do that here for the Denver Broncos by pulling up the PFF mock draft simulator and going through a couple of different 3-round scenarios for them to see which strategies we like the most. So let's get this thing up. Let's talk about the Denver Broncos here. Let's select them at number 20. Let's go 3 rounds here, and let's enter the draft. We'll start the draft. We won't do any trades, and I want to see who we have here at number 20. So the interesting part about this exercise is you have a lot of really great players to choose from. Colson Loveland, of course, is still on the board, and I want to look at a scenario where they do still end up taking Colson Loveland, because just that they signed Evan Ingram doesn't mean that they're not going to go after another playmaker in the passing game. When you look at the depth chart, they have Courtland Sutton, of course, as their wide receiver 1. They've got Marvin Mims, Devon Vele, Troy Franklin. They signed Trent Sherfield as well, but a lot of those guys are complementary pieces. You could argue they're wide receiver 3s or option 3s on this team. Maybe you say the same for Ingram. If you think Loveland's that option 2 right behind Courtland Sutton, you'd probably still take him here anyway. So we're going to explore that avenue, but I want to see something else, because if you look at the Denver Broncos and you look about building towards the future, not just the immediate needs right now, you look at their defensive line. Zach Allen, John Franklin Meyer, Malcolm Roach, all 3 of them unrestricted free agents in 2026. Do they want to get ahead of the curve in a really good defensive tackle class and maybe get a young, talented defensive lineman into the mix and into the farm system to navigate free agency the way they want to next year? So not only does that keep their defensive line really talented, it could improve the health of that defensive line for the long term. You throw Nick Benito in there as well. He's an unrestricted free agent, but that's a little bit of a different topic with edge rusher. Maybe we'll address it later in this draft, given that we have that there. But when you talk about defensive tackle, I want to explore them taking a defensive lineman at number 20 to get ahead of that defensive line need for 2026. And I look at a guy like Walter Nolan that can make a lot of sense for them, right? You're adding him, a very talented 6'3", 305-pound, 3-technique defensive tackle, somebody who you can see here, the PFF grades, a monster in run defense this past season, and the pass rush win rate even got a little bit better for him. He's really explosive, very violent, and just very powerful overall, especially in his upper body. He's still sort of figuring out the nuances of, okay, how to win as a pass rusher with your mind instead of just with your athleticism, but even that took a step up. So I look at him as somebody who, if the Broncos draft him, they don't have to start him right away. He doesn't have to play 3 downs right away. You can continue to mold him this high ceiling type of a defensive lineman. So let's explore an opportunity where, let's say Walter Nolan's on the board. And I want to see what the rest of this mock draft looks like. So let's take Walter Nolan here at number 20. Now we're getting to the second round, and we've got pick 51 and pick 85 left here for the Denver Broncos. So tight end, wide receiver still on the board. You see some other needs there, potentially running back with them losing Javonte Williams. Do they find a running back that they like? In this class, there's a lot of running backs to love. Potentially offensive line. You could maybe upgrade the interior of that offensive line if you wanted to, but wide receiver, maybe you could get ahead of edge rusher, but I'm not going to force that one there. Running back, I think there's going to be a lot of good running backs to choose from here. Let's see what we have here. Dylan Sampson, Travion Henderson, RJ Harvey. So Quinshon Judkins, Caleb Johnson, you saw just went off the board here. Let's see wide receiver. What do we got at wide receiver, or maybe even tight end? Elijah Arroyo, I really like that. With Elijah Arroyo on the board, and I think it's realistic for him to get picked here in the middle of the second round, right around pick 51. I like this. This is a top-tier receiving tight end, measured in a legit 6'5", 250 pounds. I think that when you combine him and Evan Ingram, that's a really good receiving tight end duo there. So I like the idea of Elijah Arroyo here. I might be leaning that direction. Let's see. Wide receiver. I checked out running back. What about wide receiver? I like Elikayo Maynor. I think that could be a solid pick for them. Is he for sure your number 2 option? I think he can be. But I don't know for the Broncos if I would pick him over Elijah Arroyo. Man, now I'm really, you know what? I actually am going to go with Elikayo Maynor. For as much as I like Elijah Arroyo, I think we might have another scenario where we might be able to pick him in a different sort of draft strategy. So with Walter Nolan on the board, I'm going to go with Elikayo Maynor because he can also play that big-bodied X type of a wide receiver on the line of scrimmage role. He's excellent as a blocker, really good pride, I would say, that he blocks with when he is on the field in those rushing plays, run blocking plays, I should say. And I think the track background with him, he can threaten vertically. He's got good contested catch ability. He's got to be a little bit more sure-handed than what we saw this past season, but Elikayo Maynor I'm a big fan of his. Getting him at 51, I think, would be huge. So let's actually take Elikayo Maynor here to give you sort of that bigger-bodied receiver role. You could go with a running back. We could go with maybe running back actually ends up being the sweet spot here. Harold Fannin Jr. would actually be a very interesting complement to Evan Ingram because he can sort of be that wing back, slot tight end, fullback, lead blocker type of a tight end that we would have here because they really don't. I mean, it's Evan Ingram. They've got Adam Troutman as well. They've got some bodies at tight end, but what about running back too? I love a guy like RJ Harvey, Devin Neal, Damian Martinez. Jaden Blue's more of a speed element if you want to throw him in there. I wish Terrence Ferguson was here at pick number 85. I think it should be a home run for me if it was, but let's go with Harold Fannin Jr. I just think to increase that versatility of what you could be on offense. And Sean Payton talked about wanting to draft that joker position type of a wide receiver, which could be what Evan Ingram is, honestly, as a guy who could be a tight end / slot wide receiver. I think that you could say sort of the same about Elikayo Maynor, who might be able to play a little bit in the slot for you, but he's more of the outside guy. Harold Fannin Jr., though, does give you the ability to play that tight end position in the slot and just have a bigger, more powerful receiver that you have in the slot and that middle of the field defender. So here's one scenario. We didn't take Colson Lovett at number 20 for the Denver Broncos. We took Walter Nolan. We addressed the defensive line. We got Elikayo Maynor as well and Harold Fannin Jr. I do like this strategy, and I'm glad that we explored it here. But let's do another mock. Let's do another mock here. Let's hit new mock. Let's go Denver Broncos again, number 20, 3 rounds. Let's start it off here. And as long as Colson Loveland is here, I think that he is. We've got him. Yes, he is still on the board here. So let's take Colson Loveland and then try to have an emphasis towards the defensive tackle spot. So Loveland on this team, excellent, versatile combo of Loveland and Evan Ingram. Now, you don't have one that you feel great about putting on the line of scrimmage, but you have 2 that you feel like is a big-time, bigger mismatch. I mean, if you get Colson Loveland, Courtland Sutton, Evan Ingram on the field at the same time, not a lot of secondaries in the NFL can handle that sort of size and route running combination that all of those athletes can bring to you. So, all right, we took Loveland at number 20. Now we're at 51. Defensive tackle. Oh, man. Or is there a running back that we love here? Man, Quinshon Judkins is here. Caleb Johnson is here. I wonder if we could feel good about the defensive line additions that we might be able to get in the 3rd round. I feel like we're going to, because I feel as though at pick number 85, we're going to have the opportunity to pick a CJ West, a Jordan Phillips, maybe even a Jordan Farmer if he is there. Let's go running back. I'm going to take Quinshon Judkins. I have him ranked a little bit higher. Maybe they would be interested in Scattaboo. I think that he could be great for them as well, but I wonder if Sean Payton's just going to gravitate more towards that overall athleticism of Quinshon Judkins. I'll take Judkins here. If you like Caleb Johnson more, you can envision Caleb Johnson here because he could be a nice outside zone type of a runner. But let's go Quinshon Judkins, the powerful and productive Ohio State running back there. And then number 85, oh man, Terrence Ferguson did make it to 85. I wish he would have been there before. So that, again, it sort of explores this possibility. Dude, I like Elijah Roberts a lot as well. This is more of a 3-4 defensive end type of a player, but I think that works out perfectly. You're not going to put him at the nose technique, but John Franklin Meyer, Zach Allen, we mentioned Zach Allen's a free agent next offseason. They just signed DJ Jones, so they have him to play the nose tackle. But if you would want more of a nose tackle, I think I'd be taking a Jordan Phillips or a CJ West because I think both those guys are on the board. Oh, so Jordan Phillips actually is not on the board. So you'd probably be taking a guy like CJ West here, which I'm totally fine with. I think pick number 85 is totally fine for him. He's going to be going up in my next couple of rankings that I do. But I'm actually going to take Elijah Roberts because, man, look at these grades that he has. Just a fantastic odd front defensive end type of a player. He brings you that plus size at 6'4", 295 pounds. He's just graded so well over the last couple of seasons, and he gives you a little bit more juice as a pass rusher. I think he'd be fantastic on this defensive line. So I'm going to go Elijah Roberts here. Man, I like that we're honing in on these needs. Getting to D for Colston Loveland just because he's ranked 29 and we picked him at number 20. But obviously, I think that would be a good pick for the Denver Broncos. It's also a little bit lower in the rankings just because we took away that bigger team need for them. Colston Loveland, Quinshad Judkins, Elijah Roberts. And I like this as well. I mean, we had Walter Nolan, Elikai Omaner, Harold Fannin Jr. Curious as to which one people like a little bit more here. Let's do one more. Let's just keep our mind open and let's maybe a blend of the two. So let's see which one we like a little bit more. Let's enter this draft again. Anybody? Ooh. A Luther Burden, a Kenneth Grant made it here. Man, I think he would be excellent as well. I know you just signed DJ Jones, so you'd probably need Kenneth Grant to be okay playing a little bit more of a defensive end spot if you're okay with that. I don't hate that, but man, what about Luther Burden? What if we explored the opportunity for him to be that slot joker type of a player that you use out of the backfield, that you use in the slot? That could be a phenomenal complement to what they already have with Evan Ingram, with Courtland Sutton, and with some of the speed elements, the vertical stretching players they already have. So I didn't think they were going to do this, but I like the fact that this reality sort of came here. Let's do Luther Burden the third for the Denver Broncos. So let's take him at number 20, and let's see what else we have after that. We got pass rusher. Simon Revel is here, making it to 51, man. What a pick this would be. Elikai Omaner is still here, but we don't need that. Obviously, we picked that in the first scenario. We don't need that here. Alfred Collins, I think, would be excellent for this team. Really good defensive lineman, somebody who's strong at the point of attack, gives you that extra length as well. You could see, didn't have a ton of playing time the previous two seasons because it is a 4 or 5-star defensive lineman, by the way, but he just didn't play because he was behind Tavondre Sweat and Byron Murphy II. So now you get to get his 6'5", 320-pound frame in a versatile front. I like Alfred Collins. I might like this the most. So let's go Alfred Collins here, and then let's see what tight ends or running backs that we have here after the fact. So no Terrence Ferguson. Would have loved Terrence Ferguson. Man, Mason Taylor goes one pick before us. So obviously I think that would have been good there as well to potentially get another tight end in there. Harold Fannin, we could pick Harold Fannin again. We've got Gunnar Helm. We have Mitchell Evans. I like this though. Wide receiver, defensive line. And man, I could go. I might go with Harold Fannin Jr. again. I really might. I think he could be worth it. Anybody at the running back spot that we think would be worth it here? Again, Damian Martinez could be great for them. Somebody who, again, I've watched more of him. He's going to go up in my next couple of rankings that I'll release over the next few weeks. So he's going to be somebody who's going to be going up because I really do like that. And they got Jaleel McLaughlin. They had Audric Estime, or they have Audric Estime, excuse me. I still think there's something in the tank for Blake Watson as well. Man, I kind of want Harold Fannin Jr. I feel like he's like this Jonnu Smith type of a chess piece tight end, which is exactly what they would want. And man, the versatility of all of these players, if you go get a Harold Fannin Jr. at that point. I mean, look at the production that this guy had. A 96.4 receiving grade. He's a little bit smaller of a tight end, but that's why you could play him in line because he's a good pound-for-pound blocker. He's good out of the slot. He's got some good explosiveness there. He knows how to be used in a heavy volume set. You see the contested catch rate. You see the run blocking grade, though. Pound for pound, he's pretty strong. I'm going to take Harold Fannin Jr. here. I actually might like this one the most, guys. I might like this draft the most, Luther Burden, because I'm a Luther Burden believer. I like Luther Burden. I think that he's getting underrated at this point in time. But the versatility of Burden and in the backfield, in the slot as a Z, somebody that you can move behind the line of scrimmage before the snap. Alfred Collins, he can play nose tackle for you. He can play defensive end in that odd front. So he's a great chess piece and building block for them moving forward, getting into those free agency needs in 2026. And then Harold Fannin Jr., another extremely versatile pick. This might be the more Sean Payton type of draft that we could have had. So let me know what you guys think about this haul here. All three hauls. getting Walter Nolan Jr. in the first round and prioritizing that. Elikai Mayer and Harold Fanning Jr. were the 2 picks that we had after that. What do you think about still going after Colston Level and allowing him to be that receiving tight end along with Evan Ingram, setting up a really tall, just a small forward type of receiving group there for them? And then you're drafting Quinshon Judkins. You're drafting a couple of other players there that makes sense for them. And then this last one, I think I like the most between Luther Burden III, Alfred Collins, and Harold Fanning Jr. Just the versatility. That's where I want to go with this team. I actually like this strategy the most. You got too many good defensive tackles. You don't have to take one at number 20 in the first round. You opened up some flexibility to be able to do it, but I think the sweet spot is there at pick number 51. So that is my ideal Denver Broncos draft strategy post free agency. You guys let me know in the comments which one you like better and which one you want to see them prioritize when it comes to draft weekend. Thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure you like and subscribe the video. And if you don't have a PFF Plus subscription, you can get one to see all the premium stats that we talked about here on the show, plus the expert betting and fantasy advice over at subscribe.pff.com. The description is also right below. So if you are not a PFF Plus subscriber, you can become one today.